Perfect. I love it. Well, welcome to CEOs Wear Sneakers.
Thank you.
It's a K-Swiss podcast where we interview amazing entrepreneurs like yourself that have stories that inspire and are just an example to, many people like myself and maybe people that have been in your shoes that don't know how to level up in their life.
Yeah.
And that there's a lot of things that you could just share from your experience. And that's what K-Swiss is all about. It's empowering and inspiring today's entrepreneurs. And your story, from everything that I've gathered on you, like I was telling Jeff this morning, like I'm going to try not to fanboy, but
Thank you,
it's
man.
really remarkable what you've been able to accomplish.
I'm just working. I'm just, somebody that has figured out a little bit of what my craft is, and I just do my best to put my head down every single day and not make it about me. Make it about the value I could create for other people, right? Like Simon Sinek, I think, is a great person to look up if you're trying to figure out what your why is, what's your purpose. And one of the things he says is that your why, that thing that drives you, is the value you give to the world. So, I could be passionate about basketball all day long, but if I can't be valuable on a basketball court, which I can't, that's not going to do anything for anybody. So I just, it's taken me a while to figure out what is my value and how can I be the most effective for other people. And as soon as I started to figure that out, and I just put those blinders on 4 to 5 hours a day. That's all I do, man.
Straight focus.
Yeah.
Well, Keven, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Is it Stirdivant?
Just like it's spelled. Stirdivant.
Stirdivant.
Yep.
Okay. Well, my last name's Presswich. Most people get that wrong. They say Presswick. But Keven, for the listeners that don't know you, you are the founder of Case Real Estate. And you're also, I don't know if you're the founder or co-founder, but of Project Mindset.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about those little things, but I actually want to take it back to some of the beginnings, because I think one of the most powerful things about you is you began the personal development mindset at a very, very young age, when, at the age of 17, where most kids, before MySpace, before, all these cell phones and all this stuff, that you were actually able to hone in due to a certain situation that you were in that I'd love you, if you could share about.
Absolutely.
So as a 17-year-old, what was going on in your life that made you focus on personal development?
Well, it actually started even before that, really. The understanding of perspective started when I was like 5, 6 years old, and my dad went to prison, and it kind of went from, having my hero there all the time to my mom telling me that my dad's going to go away. And I'm like, well, how long? And she's like, well, could be as long as 10 years. He's going to school. He's going to be going to fire school to be a fireman. So the next time we see him, he's going to be behind a glass. She was doing her best to try to protect me, and, obviously figured that out within, I think by the time I was 8, I knew what was up. But I would get these letters from my dad in prison, and he would literally, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, tell me things like, I may be stuck in here, I may be in prison, but my mind is free. And so for me to be 5, 6 years old and understand that it's not about where you're at, or it's not about what's happening to you, but it's how you see what's happening to you. And that quote really resonated with me at an early age, that, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So it was ingrained in me at a really early age that our life is what we make it. And it's not about the circumstance or the situation. It's about how we react to it. And so that was kind of always in my soul. And I think that helped me with skateboarding. That helped me, getting in and out of all kinds of trouble. I never let it really, really bog me down. But the reality is I raged, partied like crazy, did all types of crazy drugs, and just wanted to wild out, I wouldn't say I was like an addict. I just loved escaping. And and just having absolute freedom to do whatever I wanted, which put me in a very special after school program as a junior. And that after school program led me to become a father my junior year at Costa Mesa High School. And that was when I really started to dive back into those things that my dad was trying to impress upon me at an early age from prison, and some of the things that my mom was trying to tell me about that I wasn't really listening to, like Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins. I don't want anything to do with that. When I got the news that I was having a kid, I think maybe a month later, I was at the Tony Robbins Firewalk seminar, and it was a game changer. You know, it really, I think you can look at those things from a third eye or bird's eye view and kind of judge all you want, but it's a completely different experience when you let go of your judgment and you put your opinions aside and just open that book, or you go to that seminar, or you hire a life coach, or you hire a therapist. For whatever reason, for I think many years, mental health, when you think about that, has been, there's like a negative connotation to it, right? Where
it wasn't cool back then.
No.
Yeah, like you were saying, Zig Ziglar. It's funny. My dad, when I was 16, he gave me tapes, the Zig Ziglar tapes, and I remember I had a hard time listening to him because of his voice. But I've gone since then. I've gone through and really learned to love the guy, and Brian Tracy as well. Like Brian Tracy's.
Well, now you have dope people. Yeah. You know, you have Eric Thomas, who's like putting beats behind it, and it's a cool thing now.
Yes.
Yeah, which is
100%. You know, one thing I read about you is when you began, you know, into personal development at 17-ish, at least that's what I read. You started calling yourself a life coach.
Right.
And I fucking love that because it just shows how mature you were as a junior in high school. And that opened up, you know, essentially all the many doors that led you to where you are now. And your first student, per se, the first person that called you their life coach was Jonas.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, and I think too, I think a lot of young people might want to call themselves a life coach now because it gives them this certain title. It's like a thing that you could put on your handle. I didn't have an Instagram or a Facebook or a MySpace or anything when I started calling myself a life coach. I was 99. There was no
AOL.
You know what I mean? I wasn't even fully using email. So to me, it was just the fact that I had read all these books. I had done something called the Landmark Forum twice, in and out, all their programs. And I just felt like, shit, like my friends are not going to go to this seminar. But if I could flip it and teach it to them, this stuff has made such an impact in my life. Maybe they'll be open to it. And so when I met Jonas, it was like 99 at this hip hop show. And they were kind of following a buddy of mine named JP, who was like super OG skater, late 90s, early 2000s. And they invited him to come to the warehouse. And I was already starting to make paper from this real estate training company that I was working at. But honestly, it was kind of a cheesy company. But, you know, I was 17. I was already pushing a really dope Audi with rims on it and blah, blah, blah. And Jonas was like 8, maybe 19.
Okay.
And he's just like, what do you do? You know, and I didn't want to be like, oh, yeah, I work at this blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm a life coach. And he's like, oh, for real? What's that? And just on the fly, I was like, you know, I help people get from where they're at to where they want to go. And he's like, damn, dude, like I could really use that. And we just, the very next week, he just happened to live like 3 blocks behind where I lived, where my mom had lived. And I had just moved to Orange County from Ohio. So I had a crew of friends out in LA, but I had hardly any friends in OC. And it was like LA to OC was like a culture shock to me. You know what I mean? And so to have somebody that dope who lived walking distance, I just feel like the universe just lined us up, because as soon as we started chilling, it was just like, and he was really dope that he was super open to my coaching. Like he took it very, very serious. If you look up the hashtag greatest friend to ever live, I've posted a couple videos of the work that we did together, and it was just an amazing experience, because when we started working together, it was, I'm not even playing, the office may have been the size of this room right here, maybe a little bit bigger, right? And it was like the size of a large bathroom in some of the homes I'm selling these days. And I think that everything would have happened with or without me, because Jonas's vision was so clear that LRG was going to be the dopest clothing company ever. I think when you have a vision that's so clear, the universe just provides you what you need. And I was just one piece in his puzzle that had to happen,
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
But your mindset, that's, and I was telling Jeff, like, to be that focused at a young age is remarkable.
Yeah.
So that's when you started tapping into real estate.
Yep.
Do you know who Darren Hardy is?
Yeah.
He's
Success Magazine, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was someone that I really got into, because I don't have like a crazy story like you, but I'm divorced.
Okay.
And when I was in the darkest moment of my life where I completely felt alone, I picked up Darren Harding's book. Well, there's two: the Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, but the Compound Effect.
Okay.
And that book forever changed, the way that I viewed my life and small choices and how
Amazing.
they impact. And now, the fruits of your labor after years.
Yeah.
How that's evolved. So.
Well, that's a crazy story. We all have a crazy story. You might not think that that's crazy, but to make it through your divorce and to turn your life around and to now be here working at K-Swiss, creating content that's going to uplift and change the world, like, you guys organize this. I'm just here speaking. We don't know who this is going to impact, right? That's tight.
Yeah, and I love that, because I live by this philosophy that you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And I believe that every person has something great within them and something great to offer. And I love that with Instagram, for example, and Twitter and Facebook, that you can just post those things. You don't have to, if you are living your best life and you share those little wins, I really believe that they'll impact someone that doesn't know, maybe they can't relate to a Tony Robbins or, Brian Tracy or whatever, but they're like, hey, Keven is my homie. I see him doing it, and that motivates me.
Absolutely, man. That's my goal. Just to let everybody know I'm their homie. I'm just a regular kid out here that's just working and grinding and failing forward. I think that's like the misperception, whatever you want to call it, of successful people, is that it's just like, just clear skies, man, all day long. I'm just one big walking breakthrough every single day. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like 90% of my time and my day-to-day is not in breakthrough. It's in breakdown. It's a struggle. It's a fight. It's a battle. But, the only way to live a life that doesn't have any of that struggle is to play fucking small. I'm not playing small. I'm playing huge. Like, I am playing the game of my real estate company being the greatest real estate team, brand, whatever you want to call it, of all time. That's going to come with some haters. That's going to come with some people trying to shut us down. That's going to come with my own personal challenges and the wins and losses. But like I always say, man, the lesson in the L is greater than the reward of the win. Yeah. So when you can learn that even if I get fucking uppercut right in the face all day long, as long as I keep getting back up, I'm winning. It's not about having this totally simple life where everything's just like, fine and dandy. That's boring.
Yeah.
Part of it is just getting beat up. Like I could take a punch, dude. And unless I die, I'm gonna always get back up and persevere, and that's what makes this game fun.
I love that, dude. Literally, I just got goosebumps like hearing you say that, because it's something that I completely believe in.
Because come on, Tony, give me the breakdown, would you? Come on, bro. But no, they don't want to truly say, like if Tony Robbins really did whatever, this whole scandal, I don't even know the details of it. Just give me the dirt. Yeah. Tell me that you actually made it, and maybe you didn't. But it's like, is it that scary to really admit that you screwed up or something happened. But no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to admit that we have these, battles or these addictions and that you're a superhuman. You are cool, but I'm not. I got battles going on every day, dude. From my sobriety to, family, to running a business, to, just all kinds of things. But that's reality.
And that's what makes you, who you are. And that's what I think is the biggest impact, because when you are, in my opinion, when you're just open about those things where you're like, damn, I fucked up here, or XYZ, those are the things where you're just like, hey, it happened. It is what it is, but this is how I get out of it. And
Totally.
Those steps are the most important. I think that's where the real motivation comes. I don't want to downplay your company case. In 2017, it was ranked number 10 out of tens of thousands, real estate companies. How do you go from flipping shoes to having the top 10 real estate companies in America?
Man, I would say the same way you run a marathon, step by step. It's like, I did set it as a goal. Like, I set a goal in 2012 to have this crazy, ridiculous real estate company to become number one, blah, blah, blah. We reached number one in our region out of however many hundreds of agents by 2015. So anytime you reach a goal, it's like, well, you don't stop there. When you complete a marathon, you don't sit around all day long thinking that, yeah, I crossed 26.2. I did it, 26.2. Like, that's how you get fat. You cross that finish line and then you set something else. And so when we hit this number one ranking within our brokerage, it was like, shit, well, what's next? And in 2015, I set a goal to close $1 billion. And we're about 93% of the way there since 2015 when we set that goal. But I would say that it is by having less of a focus on the goal and more of a focus on the process and the habits. So I have these like 8 things that I do every single day where I don't care if I just listed a home recently for $35 million. That same day, I went out and I did my 8 things. Right. And just to kind of give an example, one of my 8 things is waking up at 4:47. Another one of my 8 things is, I don't want to give too many secrets away.
No, do it. I'm a 4:35 a.m. guy. If I do that, and I have my morning routine, I want to get into the office before 9 and feel like it's noon because I've already crushed that morning.
So
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I won't say too much of exactly what I do in business, but one of the things has to do with personally visiting in a 2-day period. For example, I personally was at 85 different properties in a 2-day period, just even last week. And so on average, there's anywhere between 30 to 100 properties, not my team, that I am personally walking on, right? And not just dropping stuff. There's a process that I go through where that's one of my 8 things, right? And day after the $35 million listing, like I always say, the times where I fall off is in the celebration or in the loss. You do something huge, you got in a rage. I don't drink anymore. But back in the day, that would be a problem. Or in the loss, a deal falls apart and now you're in breakdown. Now, these days, dude, I just stay focused on my process. I stay focused on my routine, whether I get a $35 million listing or I have a deal that is so important to me, falls apart. 4:47, I'm up. 7-mile bike ride, I'm up. 50 to 80 properties that I'm visiting in a 3-hour period, it's going down. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the key of really achieving crazy momentum, crazy growth, is not tripping on, okay, I have to get here. It's like, what are the fail-proof steps and processes that are going to get me there? If you want to complete an Ironman, you're not going to sit around just thinking about what it's like when you put the gold medal on and you walk past that finish line. You're going to think, all right, well, I need to get the shoes. I need to create a schedule. I need to change my eating habits. I need to hire a trainer. I need to read the book. There's specific steps.
Yeah.
And when you take your huge, monstrous goal, I don't care what it is, whether it's winning a Grammy or selling $1 billion in real estate or starting a clothing company, take that huge, monstrous goal, break it down into quarters, break it down into months, break it down into weeks, break it down into days, break it down into hours. You're going to look at that and be like, shit, all I have to do is this in this next hour. And then you just keep following that. Dude, you could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I last year actually I changed the way that I set my goals.
Okay.
And I used to have goals where like, oh, this year I'm gonna get a 6-pack. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this. And what I did was instead of having goals, I'm like, I want to have experiences.
Awesome.
The experience of crossing a finish line and why I want to have that. Well, if I'm gonna get a 6-pack, and I broke it down just like what you said, to get a 6-pack requires insane discipline.
Right.
Well, what activities can I do that will help me earn it?
Yes.
Because it's all about earning it, and the idea of earning it to me is like powerful.
Totally.
You earned it.
Yeah.
And so I love that. That's how I break down now my yearly goals or experiences is, well, if this is the main thing I want to accomplish, how am I going to do it in a quarter, in a month, in a week, and what am I going to do today? Like, what's my top priority to get to the next thing, to get to the next thing?
Yeah. That's
and
awesome,
dude,
man.
Chime in whenever you want.
That's awesome, dude. Earning it, because we all know what happens to people who win the lottery, right? What percentage of the people who win the lottery end up filing BK?
All of them.
Dude, there's nothing worse than somebody receiving something that they didn't earn. I see it happen within my company. The failure rate in real estate is 85%.
Jesus.
85% of people who watch $1 Million Listing, oh my God, I'm gonna be a millionaire, pass the test. It's not an easy test to pass. Get into the game, buy their first suit or whatever, sign up at whatever real estate office. 18 months later, back at their job. 85%. It's crazy. And I think I've experienced that a lot where, we bring on these young people, average age on my team is probably like mid-20s, and maybe they made a phone call. And then we took over from there and we did all the hard work to get the listing. But, we put their name on the listing, we gave them a check. And because they didn't really feel and experience what it takes to truly earn that, their career was short-lived. And we've really had to learn, like, man, we need to pull back a little bit and not make it so easy for people.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a quote I got from you that I really love. You said, if you don't put a deadline to a goal, it's just a dream.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You said that.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's not bad, dude.
What do you require with like the hard work? Because I've never done real estate, but I have done door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
I did it for 7 years, and they were
Damn, what are you selling?
home security.
Wow.
And ironically enough, in Costa Mesa, which
What?
yeah, like
Crazy.
so
That database still. Shoot it over.
I mean, I probably do actually.
Hook it up, dude.
But that was for me. I hated it, but it taught me 100% commission, getting dropped off.
Yeah.
Here's your streets.
Wow.
Learn how to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And so when I hear, the real estate people, I just think, well, you didn't put in the work.
Right. 100%.
You don't know what it's like to go through it.
Nah, 100%, dude. It's a bummer seeing people leave the business. Like if you left the business and then you elevated to something, sick. But you can go from Case to Applebee's. You know what I mean? Like, nothing against Applebee's, but dude, we were here like my top producer. When we met at the end of 2015, he was delivering pizzas and still delivering pizzas in the beginning of 2016. And last year, he was our #1 agent on our team. Dude made close to the GCI of commissions generated like $800,000. Became a father, bought his house, bought an income property, bought his wife a Porsche, bought himself a Porsche. Not that it's all about those things, but homie was delivering pizzas 3.5 years ago. And that's what's possible. But why did he get it? Did he have his mom and dad's Rolodex? No. He did the work, man. He did the work, and he knew how to let go of his own agenda and not make it about him getting paid. He understands that it was about providing value to other people. And if he can just continue providing value, it will happen.
Well said.
Yeah.
I want to back up and then tie back around. You are known as a hidden hype beast. You are in the skate culture. You were in the skate culture. Um, can you share a little bit about that? What's your experience and what led up to eventually Case?
Well, I would say, man, just skateboarding was the main thing. Well, skateboarding and hip hop, right? So like 12, 13 years old. Well, I guess in fourth grade, it started with Beastie Boys. So Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Then from there, Far Side. So once you fifth grade, Far Side, and it's over from there. So it's Far Side, then Woo, then that just opens up everything. So now we're in the mid 90s, right? And that was like the greatest experience of all time. But for me, skateboarding and hip hop, at least the way how I grew up, skating Chafee and the IE, Santa Monica Courthouse, that was a whole era. What I love most about that era is really it was a dedication to the craft. So it's like you don't want to be a poser. You need to like come with some tricks. Like, you could be a poser now. Dude, keep it real. Like, how many people are just posers on social? Like, what is it that you actually do? In that mid 90s era, you had to come correct with something.
Yeah.
So either you skated, or if you're a true hip hop head, then which craft do you have? Are you an MC? Are you a graffiti writer?
Your
You know what I mean? Which one is it?
Yeah.
And so that is really like where the vibe and the energy of Case was born. Is in and you just develop through listening to Tribe and Nas, whatever, you develop interest in fashion.
Yep.
So, I was the kid who was putting on the Timberlands, taking off my Vans, and going into Marshalls, leaving my old Vans at Marshalls, putting on the new Timberlands, walking out. I boosted a lot of gear from like Marshalls and Ross in the mid 90s.
Sorry, guys, but also thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
We bought some stuff.
Yeah, I bought some stuff too. But when I was developing Case, it came from hating my first half of real estate. So I started selling real estate in 2003, 2004, and I left the business a couple of years later. I didn't like it. I didn't like how it felt. I wore a suit every day. Everything I said was a script. I left in 2007, 2008, started this coaching company, life coaching company called Peace Academy. Didn't work. And my second son, Kaizen, was born in 2008. So going into real estate in 2009, it was like freaking worst case scenario, like worst case scenario. And
it's crazy.
And it was in the middle of the recession. So when I left in 2006, sun was shining. I was, my friends were getting loans, no prob. When I got back in 2009, it was the middle of hell. 50% of every deal was distressed, meaning it's a foreclosure, somebody lost their home, or it's a short sale. Somebody owes $1 million on their home, and their home is only worth $600,000 or $700,000. So when that sale closes, it's not a foreclosure, but they're walking with nothing. It was super depressing. And I made it through 2009 and 2010, just kind of getting by. And then 2011 was just the worst. I mean, it was an absolute worst, mainly, of course, because Jonas passed on Memorial Day, 2011. And then my dad got really sick and he passed. My closest uncle passed, all in a 6-month span of time. And then my wife and I split up at the beginning of 2012. And I needed to go through this transition where I figured out, like, what the hell are you going to do? And I think in a relationship, sometimes it's easy to blame who's ever closest to you for what's wrong. When my wife and I split up, it was just me. Just looking in the mirror. I had no money. I couldn't even afford my car payment. And I was just trying to survive. And so my dad passed January 15th, 2012. And I was going to leave real estate because I wasn't making money anyways and go into life coaching again. Because I figured if I'm going to be broke, I may as well be doing what I really love to do. And my mentor, Thatch, he was like, why don't you just combine the two together? You have 3 kids now, because my daughter was also born at the end of 2011. She was like my saving grace, you know. She just lit a fire under me that was like, I have to figure this out. And when my mentor asked me, why don't you just combine the two together? And then he's like, what would you have to do to love real estate? I'm like, bro, I have to change everything. I freaking hate this business. What would you have to change for you to love it? And I was just running on the treadmill one day, and I just saw like this vision of why I even got into the business. And the first thing I saw was my son, Eli. I was 18. He shifted things for me. And then I saw my dad, who had just passed week before. And I looked at my dad's initials, Keven Stirdivant. It's my same name. My dad and I have the same name. And my first son, Eli. And I just saw a case. And I started to chip away more at this vision of like, could I have a company that was like true to me? Could we be the go-to company for action sports and streetwear? Because none of my friends knew I sold real estate, right? That was the other thing that would be annoying in 2010 and 2011. I would have homies that would buy homes and they wouldn't use me because they thought I worked at LRG. Because as they should think I worked at LRG, my email was kevion@l-r-g. My business card, I didn't hand out a freaking Century 21 business card. I handed out my LRG card. I was embarrassed about being a real estate agent. And so 2012, I'm like, what would I have to do? And then I saw a case. I saw being known as a go-to company for action sports, for streetwear. And then I was like, you know what? I want to sell luxury. I sold one home my whole career up until that point, above $1 million. And that was a home I sold, Jonas, in 2009. I was like, I'm going to sell a $2 million home. I came up with this vision probably January 20th. And maybe 2 weeks later, Nick Diamond calls me. And I sold Nick his first home in 2004. Like FHA financing, bought it with a homie, 725. You know what I mean? And he's like, bro, I want to buy something mid-century, modern. Like literally, homie read off my vision. He represented the exact person that I wanted to work with. He's like, I could go to like 2.5. And I sold my very first home above $2 million was to Nick. We closed that February, like literally 45 days after my dad passed. I got this check and it was on, you know, he shouted me out on Insta. I remember at the closing party dinner that we went to sushi, and I remember looking at his Insta that night and he's like, we go to K. And he shouted me out, and like really my brand was born on Instagram. And that just kind of set off the wave. You know, fortunately, my wife didn't get swooped her back up at the end of that year. We got married and then just continued starting to move my business and life forward. Those first 2 years, 12 and 13, I was still by myself. By 2014, I had some people who were just kind of chilling with me, wanting to learn the game. And by 2015, we were a full-blown brand. And
is that when you guys were showing at
we did Agenda January 2016. So we had been in business 1 year as this solidified brand that sells real estate to action sports and streetwear when Aaron blessed us with having a booth at Agenda. And we
Shout out Aaron.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron. That was like the coolest shit ever.
Well, yeah, I actually just told your photographer, what's your name again?
KP, bro.
KP.
We recording KP?
He said something that I think relates to you and all this stuff, where he's like, oh, this photo gig just landed to me, and I told him no, it didn't.
Yeah.
You know, you've done something
100.
to earn it, and I think you've done the same thing. It didn't just fall into your lap, all of it. What I'm getting at is, I even wrote it down, but relationships.
Yeah.
I feel from what I've read about you and your story is you are unreal at relationships.
Thank you.
Obviously from family and learning how to cope and develop relationships, to your wife splitting up, getting back together, to Jonas, to Kev, you know, it doesn't matter who. Can you just share a little bit of light on the importance of relationships?
I'm a really dope friend.
And that's it.
No, I get that from it's funny. But actually, I do think I'm a really good friend. I think that's a part of relationships, right? Like being a great friend. Like if we hang out, dude, I'm going to pour into you. right? Or like, I'm not going to hang out with somebody that is not on the level of wanting to do better. Anybody who hangs out with me, they are trying to make their life better, and they're open to what I have to say, and I'm open to what they have to say. I'm not trying to be everyone's coach, but like some of my coaches, my people on my team, Richard Mulder, Carter Kaufman, Sharif, Francis, KP, like, dude, we all pour into each other. I don't hang out with anybody who's not trying to better themselves. But I have a very, very high commitment to the people I spend time with having an extraordinary life. Fucking period. So anybody that is going to share a challenge in front of me, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to give you insight of how you can break through that thing. So, but I think at the core of relationships, what is it, right? Like, what is it? It's love. And what's love? Well, love is spelled Time. So at the core of relationships, like the reason why I went off of social media last week is because I wanted to really observe, how am I spending my time? Nothing matters more than that. That's everything. And these days, it's so easy to get distracted from time. Like right now, we're here, nothing else matters. I ain't looking at the clock. I'm not thinking about the appointment I'm doing later. We're right here. We're vibing out. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the main thing, is learning how to fully be present to people. And everybody, I think, has their own way of being in a relationship. All I know, dude, is from my children to my wife to my friends to my team members, is I can only listen to people from a space of unlimited possibility. So I don't think anything about what you can do, what you can't do. I only listen to you. I only listen to you from a space of anything is fucking possible. So, I think when you can converse with people like that, it creates this opportunity for breakthrough, right? Because it's a blank canvas then. What are we going to do?
Yep.
There's no, well, what about this? That's a story. Well, what about this? That's a story. My job is to create a space for other people that anything is possible for them tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this powerhouse of relationships that obviously you're a master at kind of reminds me of Jordan Harbinger a little bit, if you know who Jordan is.
Sounds familiar.
He's a world-class interviewer and entrepreneur as well, and his podcast is the Jordan Harbinger Show.
Okay.
But he has this course about networking and building relationships and how important that is and how to do that. So you also now run Project Mindset.
Yeah.
And that's it's a life coaching project.
Yep.
I mean, if I want to join this thing, tell me a little bit about this.
So drama kind of is the one who reignited my passion to do Project Mindset. It's like I've been saying that Case is a real estate and personal development company from the get-go, right? Like my elevator pitches, we work with people on their big vision, their big dream in life. And many times what follows is their dream home, So what's your big dream all about? Like, that's my whole thing, is working with people on their big dream. But I, besides occasionally speaking at a school or whatever, I didn't really have any type of platform where I could really coach people. And I'm not really interested in creating a coaching program necessarily. It just doesn't work time-wise. I can speak places and whatnot, but as far as like doing one-on-one coaching, that doesn't fit right now. Because the one-on-one coaching that I'm doing really that's what I do in my real estate business. So, we carry anywhere from 15 to 30 listings over $1 million at one time. And then we have anywhere from 10 to 20 pending escrows, right? We sell and close an escrow. We sell a home every single business day. And we've done that really for the last 4.5 years. We have closed an escrow every single business day. There is a lot of coaching that you need to provide for a buyer and a seller when you do that much business. It's a very emotional thing, buying a home. It's like you're basically a therapist. So I look at my personal coaching as what I do for my buyers and my listings. But I really missed having this other platform of what I used to do back in the day with Peace Academy, of connecting with people at this higher level. And honestly, in the beginning of 2017, I was just praying for an opportunity to speak and share my story more. And I wrote down in January 2017 that I would be a guest on Short Story Long. It was the first podcast I ever listened to, and listening to Rob Dyrdek's was like, holy shit, dude. It was, I think, October 2016 when I'd never listened to a podcast, and I saw the homies on it, right? Bobby Hundreds was on it, Nick Diamond was on it, Aaron was on it, all the homies were on this podcast. And then I heard Rob Dyrdek's, and I was like, damn, I gotta get on here. This was so dope. And I didn't know drama. And around April, somebody my homie Sneaker Steve connected us on a thread, and I remember looking at that text, just like, holy crap. And then I was episode 50 on there, and that became I guess one of his most listened to interviews, which is rad, because I think I have probably at least up until his first 50, one of the lowest like follower counts. You know what I mean? I think like Kyrie Irving was a couple before me. And so after being on Short Story Long, dude, I just got flooded with questions and thank yous, and I had to go out and find a way to like continue pouring into people. And so through that, Project Mindset was born. And around that same time, the universe connected me with KP, who was able to really go out and get the right equipment, force me to press record every single week. You know what I mean? That's why at the beginning of those podcasts, I'm like, we recording KP? Because that's like a genuine question.
Shout out KP.
Yeah, dude, we're like 50 something episodes deep. We took a break for the last month, and we're about to pick it up this week.
Nice.
Season 3.
Well, to the listeners, please go listen and subscribe.
Yeah, man. iTunes, everywhere podcasts are. Project Mindset.
I mean, I feel like, well, actually, there's a couple other things that I want to touch on Rob Dyrdek for a sec, because do you know who Tom Bilyeu is?
Yeah, I did a podcast when Drama organized his Super Pod 100. It's a good one. It's Tom, Rob, and myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know.
That dude's a Jedi.
Yeah, he definitely is something else. And the episode that he had with Rob Dyrdek, I listened to that a few times because I didn't know much about him, other little things here and there, but I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah,
I get why you are where you are. And same with you.
Thank you, man.
I totally understand that. Just a couple other things before we wrap up. You know, what you are and represent in the skate culture, and Rob, and you call them the homies, but you're all on this certain level. And I wish and I hope, at least I come from a similar like skate culture background. What advice do you have for the culture? Because within the culture still, it's just still a lot of negativity and shit and bad choices, that it's all about a lifestyle that you want to portray. But then eventually you got to make positive choices.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to say something about it.
Yeah, let's hear
it. So I know Kev for a long time, and I think we've been homies. We've also been fairly peripheral, like when we started out seeing each other at events and stuff. But thanks to Facebook and then Instagram, it's kind of nice to at least casually kind of keep up with people, even if you don't see them all the time. And to see that you've what you built with Case, and then bringing in people like Richard and some of our other mutual friends and acquaintances. I think that it really says something. I think to me, when you're open about you talk about waking up every morning at a certain time, but then you also talk about when you didn't do that, the times that you didn't, or that your sobriety, but then there was times where you weren't that way.
Yeah,
I think that's like that, but you constantly picking yourself up and doing what you do is very genuine. And go back to the relationships. I think it's really cool that you are a motivator or inspire people to do something else, it's in the name, like from skate to real estate. So,
yeah.
I just want to say I super respect it.
Thank you, man.
That you built, man.
Thank you. It's just an authentic thing for me I didn't really have to like try to do it. You know, it was like, I think that it required some courage to do it in a way that I just felt like I could do something different here with this real estate space. Everybody's doing it the same way. Everybody's suit and tie. And, you know, like to do the Agenda trade show was so outside the box, and to just see the support
was that
and
your
the love.
VW in the
Yeah.
That was sick.
And to just see like the love that we got from Aaron, it was like no question. I was blown away. I was so blown away that he was like, yeah, no question, dude, let's do it. But I believe that he just saw that we were doing something unique, and to him it fit. So to just, I think the main thing is to know that like when you have a vision that's clear, you can't expect anybody to push your vision. If people aren't pushing your vision, it's because they don't know what to push. It's not clear. They're not enrolled in it. They're not inspired in it. Like, you know how easy it was for Jonas to have Kanye, the Roots, you know what I mean, Visionaries, all the skaters, everybody just be down for it. Why was that? Well, it's because Jonas had a vision, and people were enrolled in his vision. People are enrolled into Walt Disney's vision. We are enrolled every single day in Steve Jobs' vision. So, you know, if people aren't backing what you're doing, I would encourage you to take a look at, do you know exactly what you're doing? Because all I know is that I got broken down, ripped apart, beaten up, and all of that gave me an immense amount of clarity of what I really wanted. And contrast creates clarity, right? No matter what, it's like we don't always want to be in a storm. Like we want clear skies, and the challenge is being able to sit in the middle of the storm and look out with the rain freaking drenching down on you and just being like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I don't know why it's raining right now, but thank you. It's just that we can't always see the fruit, you know, what's about to come through for fruition. But you have to be able to have a vision that's so strong, you do not give a shit, dude. It's a wall. Walls are going to come up, but you're going around, you're going over, you're going through, you're going to get to the other side. So that's the first thing that I would encourage people, is to have a vision that is true and authentic to you. And then secondly, it's know that you're not missing anything, right? People get caught up in this thing called have, do, be. All right, when I have a manager, when I'm verified on Instagram, when I have a car, when I have the job, when I have the six pack, when I have whatever, then I can go and do these things. Then I can go and be that guy. But it's backwards. It will never happen. You will never create that Grammy-winning song if you're waiting for a manager and to be signed. The Grammy-winning song starts right now in your room when that freaking energy hits you. That's inside of you. That's not something you have to go out and get. So I just encourage people to be aware of this bullshit story that they might be getting stuck in, and I call that have, do, be. The process of manifestation and creating breakthroughs tonight is be, do, have. You got to be able to also work that backwards and say, what if I want a Grammy? Okay, what do I need to do to create a Grammy? I need to write the freaking song. Well, who do I need to be? Well, who you need to be is inspired, focused, passionate, grateful, and then choose that energy.
Yeah.
It is our choice to choose faith over fear, inspired over tired. It's not something that's going to happen when we fucking do whatever. Like right here, right now, we have an opportunity every day to choose a being energy. And when you choose that energy, then you go and do your thing. That's when the breakthrough happens.
Yeah. Joe Rogan has this line that I love that he says, be the hero of your own movie.
Sick.
And this whole bit, when I'm in my dark times or the struggles, like I always listen to that because I'm reminded, like, what would my best self do in this situation? I'm not going to be a little bitch and cry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get up, and the pro goes to work.
Totally, man. Yeah, totally. And it's easy to be grateful for what's good. Can you be grateful for the broken leg? You know what I mean? Can you be grateful for losing your job? Can you be grateful for the breakup? Can you be grateful for not getting the promotion? That is when you become truly unstoppable. It's easy to be grateful for a sunny day, but can you be grateful for being stuck in the middle of the storm? Because when you can really understand that breakdown, frustration, loss, all of that is actually where you're going to learn and grow. Not saying it's going to be easy, but at least you know, you're like, all right, and I just play the perfect game. Perfect. You're perfect. I accept this. And a lot of times I have to, a couple Fridays ago, I had 3 gnarly uppercuts in the same hour. Like, what the? And I just had, it was insane. And I just had to stop. And I had to thank God for all 3. Okay, Lord, I don't know why this happened right now, but I can see, and I had to find reasons why it could be good. I can see why this person left. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the time with them that I had, and I really wish them the best. Then I had a deal fall apart after 60 days of being in escrow, and after 6 months of working on it. So we're talking about 8 months of work, and the whole thing falls apart. And talking to these people every single day. Lord, I don't know why this happened, but thank you for the opportunity to go through this experience for this last 8 months. Thank you for the opportunity to re-earn the person's trusts, because it was a listing. And so after 8 months, and it was about to close, instead of closing, I had to put it back on the market. The day of being paid, instead I get to go back to work again for maybe another 6 months. Thank you, Lord. Who knows who I'm going to get to meet again through this?
Yeah.
You kind of have to be a crazy person to dance with the breakdown. But nothing is worth your energy. There's no amount of shitty situation that is worth robbing you of being inspired and engage in an experience of life that everything is all good. I don't care if you're in prison. And that's what my dad taught me. My dad would send me these letters, 5 or 6 years old. Hey, don't think because I'm in here, everything sucks. I'm okay. I'm working out. I'm actually, I got a job in the library here. What the hell? My dad's freaking crazy. He's in jail. I can't believe this doesn't suck. But again, it's not what happens to us. It's how we react to what happens. So I just encourage people to protect their energy by any means necessary, and you can control it. If you're in a funk, acknowledge it, be grateful for it, thank it, and keep moving forward on that thing. And know what your skill set is. Know what that thing is that you do that is of massive value, and do your best to do that thing. Skater, rapper, real estate agent, designer, whatever it is that you do, freaking podcaster, put the blinders on and just do that thing for 4 to 5 hours a day for 4 to 5 years and just watch where it puts you.
Yeah. Well, Keven, I'm beyond inspired. I'm
Cool,
sure
man.
the listeners and viewers are inspired as well. Where do people find you?
Insta is probably the best way, at Kevion, Kevion. Where else? KP, Project Mindset, podcast. I'm pretty easy, dude, to get a hold of.
KevenStirdivant.com.
Oh, KevenStirdivant.com. We got a new website in the works. Shout out to my Case team, Case Real Estate. Literally, man, from Malibu to San Clemente. Basically, if you look at a map and it's in Southern California, that's where we work, all along the coast. From mobile homes to mansions. Like, truly, I think in the same week that we sold a mobile home, it was a sick mobile home, though. It was like a $650,000 mobile home. But we also listed a home for $35 million. So we don't discriminate by any means in terms of price. I know you may only see the bangers on Insta, but if the intention is real and you're serious about buying a property or serious about selling a property, nobody can touch us.
Where do you think
Truly.
the best value is? I know you're trying to wrap it up. Where do you think the best value is right now in the Southern California real estate market if you're looking to buy your first home? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, for sure, man. It depends. It depends on where you live. It depends on what you can afford. The best value for a multimillionaire is different for the best value of somebody that works at Starbucks. What I would say is, like, I have a cousin who literally makes, I think, maybe $16 an hour. And he bought a property for $205,000 or something in Long Beach 2 years ago, a condo. Dude, we're putting that property back on the market for 315. Like, he's gonna walk with $100,000 after 2 years. Your mortgage is typically $700 for every $100,000 you borrow.
Interesting.
So, and you can buy a home FHA with like 3% down. You know what I mean? So if you buy a home for 500,000, that's 15 G's. So I think what I encourage you to do is step one of buying a home is the paper. You got to make sure to get your money right and get connected with a really good mortgage broker. After, of course, you call me. Call me first. I'll connect you with the mortgage person. And then the mortgage person is the one who helps you create that plan and get ready. I have skaters, fashion people, artists in the industry. It took 5 years to do some of these deals, if not longer. But you want to get situated. All buying real estate is an exchange of money for property. That's all it is. Some people can buy cash. Some people are getting a loan. I would just say that don't trip if it's your very first place. Just get it. Just like my cousin, $205,000 or whatever in Long Beach. He's walking away from this sale with over $100,000. Dude makes $16 an hour. You know what I mean? So just set the plan to do it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's motivating.
Do it, dude. I'm telling you.
I got your number.
Let's
That was me.
Let's go.
You're the man. Thank you so
guys.
much.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time is everything.
Thank you, K Swiss. You know, it's like 6 months left to give me a shoe before Nike swoops me up. So let's make this happen. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, and our listeners, 5-star rating. Please leave us some comments because
Dope.
I think there's some good shit here. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Woo!